We've been waiting for this trailer for about a year. David Corenswet is our new Superman, James Gunn directing and writing the movie. What could go wrong? I had to literally take a 30-minute break just to look at myself in the mirror and just wonder, what am I gonna do until July 11th? What's going on, guys? My name is Coco. If you're new here, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Make sure you hit that bell for notifications. I just started making these long form videos. If you've been following me for a while, you know I've been making shorts, so I really appreciate that support there. And now that I'm on this new journey, I hope you guys can stick around with me. And today we have the Superman trailer, man. I've been waiting for this trailer for an entire year, ever since David Corenswet actually got cast as Superman. This is what Superman is supposed to be if you ripped him straight out of the comics. Of course, Christopher Reeves did an amazing job, but this guy's like the modernized version of Superman in this day and age. But kicking off the trailer, we start with Superman landing battle damage somewhere that looks like an icy planet. I think this may be somewhere near the Fortress of Solitude. We see him reminiscing about things that have happened in his life. We get our first look at Clark Kent going through the city of Metropolis. I love how he kind of looks like he doesn't know what he's doing, and I really appreciate that, you know, they're really putting an emphasis on the human side of the character. Clark Kent is supposed to be someone that goes unnoticed in the day-to-day life. Obviously, this trailer kind of shows us how he's going in, making his way to work, and not a lot of people are paying attention to him, which I really appreciate. I think Christopher Reeves did a really good job at playing the part of Clark Kent and Superman at the same time, you know, so I really appreciate that David Corenswet is out here like in full Clark Kent mode, you know, embracing that human side of the character, making his way to work, probably late, and you know, walking through all these people that are not gonna notice him until he puts on the suit. That's the side of Superman I think James Gunn is really gonna nail down with this movie, and I think it's in the right hands with David Corenswet. I mean, this guy already looks like Clark Kent. He's been a fan of the character for years, so I really think he's putting his heart into this and he's gonna give it his best. Rachel Brosnahan as Lois is in this trailer as well, and we kind of get a little tease of that chemistry that they both have in this office. What we know is that they've known each other. They probably have been working with each other for a while, but it seems like there's some chemistry, there's some flirting, there's some, you know, there's a connection there between the two of them. Also, shout out to Jimmy Olsen in this trailer, man. I already know this guy's gonna be the comedic relief of the movie. We also get a look at the farm where Clark grew up, and we see him having a moment with Pa Kent, which I already know it's gonna hit when we see this in theaters. It's a really important character that really teaches Clark what it is to be a human, what it is to be an alien that comes to Earth and now has to live among all these humans that, you know, don't have any powers, and kind of look up to Superman, you know, as someone that is too powerful to be on this Earth and that could possibly destroy the Earth if he wanted to. And then we get by far one of my favorite parts of this entire trailer, and we get Superman whistling to the one and only Krypto, the super dog. We see him whistling at Krypto, and he just comes at light speed to come and rescue Clark. Clark obviously gives him his cape and tells him, "Krypto, take me home." We get a quick glimpse at Superman saving a young girl. This is obviously a very important part of the character. He loves kids and he doesn't want them to be scared of him. I really like that David Corenswet convinced James Gunn to keep on the trunks. If you didn't know, James Gunn did not want to go with the trunks. Apparently, David Corenswet went up to him and said, Superman shouldn't be a character that kids are scared of. I know this is an alien. This is someone who can shoot beams out of his eyes, someone that is extremely powerful, and the last thing you would want is for people on Earth to be scared of him. So let's have him dress up as a professional wrestler. I didn't know Superman or Clark Kent was a fan of WWE in this universe, but I'll take it. Obviously, I get where he's going with the whole gimmick, you know, wearing trunks kind of makes you look a little silly, a little goofy, but that's the entire gimmick of professional wrestling. So I really like the fact that they went with the trunks, and it's just crazy to think that this is going to be a lot of people's first Superman. We also get a first look at Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. He's hovering over Luthor Corp, and what we know is that he's a little bit jealous and he hates Superman guts from the beginning. James Gunn even came to say that he is kind of like a tech wizard, so you could see him as a sorcerer. He was really inspired by the Lex Luthor in All-Star Superman. We get a very interesting shot of Lex Luthor holding a gun, kind of like in a 007 pose. It looks like he's holding someone hostage in this movie. Maybe that's going to be his way to get Superman's attention. We knew from the plot leaks that this movie was going to have a sort of event happening where Superman was going to show up in the Middle East. We get this little shot of this young kid holding up a Superman flag, calling his name for him to come and save him. And then we get a shot of Superman walking in the middle of a crowd. Obviously, he's not getting that much of a fan service here. We get this little old man throwing a can at his head. It really just encapsulates the core of this movie, which is, you know, an alien from another world, and people are getting used to this fact that there's someone more powerful than them up there that could potentially kind of like destroy the world if they wanted to. From this shot, we know that he is in Stag Industries, obviously a nod to Simon Stagg, a multi-billionaire researcher. We get a quick shot of Isabel Merced hovering as Hawkgirl here. This looks insane. I really am excited to see the flight scenes in this movie. I heard that James Gunn is inspired by Top Gun Maverick, and if you haven't seen Top Gun Maverick, it is an insane movie. Like, a lot of the shots are over the head and kind of like give you a perspective of what it looks like when Superman is flying, but I'm sure they're going to be using it with all of these other characters like Green Lantern, who's also in this trailer, by the way, Gardner. Really excited to see him. Nathan Fillion just looks insane with that wig on him. If you've never seen a scene of Top Gun Maverick, just go look at some of them. They are insane, and I really hope it kind of resembles that one scene in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 where Adam Warlock is flying through all those houses, and you see kind of like how it shifts every time he moves and it follows him everywhere he goes. So it's really cool. I'm really excited, and it's probably going to be one of my favorite things when the movie comes out. And probably the biggest WTF of this trailer has to be this kaiju monster dragon looking like thing right here. I didn't expect Superman to be fighting a dragon in a live action movie, but hey, I'm completely fine with this. James Gunn loves to push the boundaries of what can be done in a live action movie. Apparently Superman and Lois do not care what's happening in the back of the city here, because they're having a little moment, I think, sharing what could be their relationship. And then we get a shot of Superman crying over a robot in the Fortress of Solitude. I think somehow Lex finds a way to, to his Fortress of Solitude, destroys this robot, and that's where that entire legacy part of him kind of goes away. And I'm really excited that James Gunn decided to drop that title from the, from the original title that is now Superman, because this movie is not about looking at the past. This movie is about looking forward into the future. This is the first movie in the DC universe. This is the first Superman movie we've had in years, and this is a really important movie, because if this movie fails, all else fails. If this movie doesn't do well, we're never gonna get another Superman movie, probably in this lifetime. We get these little crystals rising from the Fortress of Solitude. Obviously, we know that these get activated anytime Superman comes to the Fortress of Solitude, or maybe, this is like a flashback of the first time he found out that this existed. I think this is a shot of Metamorpho right here. Obviously, like we saw earlier, Stag Industries works on chemical and genetic research. Probably gonna start as a small villain in this movie, and then he's gonna become an acquaintance of Superman at the end. Quick shot of Lex Luthor here. Probably came out of a battle with Superman, realizes he is not strong enough to battle the god amongst men. He's gonna do everything to stop Superman. We know he hates his guts, so he's gonna go after him this entire movie. This is just a lovely shot, man, because we see Krypto here dragging Superman back home like he asked him in the beginning of the trailer. We get a first look at Mr. Terrific as well. We know he's gonna be a big part of the plot for whatever reason. Maybe Superman is kind of like a vigilante, and Mr. Terrific here is a little bit more of like, controlled super by the government and stuff, so they all want to stop Superman. And that goes without saying that Superman still has that risk, because as we see here, he is kissing Lois Lane as they are taking flight. This is very reminiscent of one of the shots in the comic book panel that I'm going to be putting on screen here. I think James Gunn is a student of the game. He understands the task at hand, and he's giving us all these little Easter eggs and all these little breadcrumbs about the comics, because he really is inspired by a lot of the comics in Superman, and he really wants to take that character back to what it used to be. And then obviously we see him flying out of a fire up to the sky. We saw this in the teaser trailer yesterday. Really cool scene here. They're probably saving the flight scenes for later on. That entire John Murphy symphony in the back that plays nod to John Williams is just insane. Like the guitar riff, the way it kind of pays homage to the original Christopher Reeves movie is just so good. And I think James Gunn and the entire crew behind Superman really want to bring that feeling not only to longtime fans of the character, but especially those who for some reason this teaser now sparks some curiosity into the world of Superman and the whole DC universe. A couple more things that we know from James Gunn is that Superman already exists in this universe. We're not going to get his origin story. There's other superheroes like we saw in the trailer, like Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, Mr. Terrific, Metamorpho. So this movie is already starting in the middle of the action with probably a couple of flashbacks like we saw. The next time we get a trailer, like I said before, is probably going to be around the Super Bowl, but that's just an educated guess. We could get it before or even after that. But if you made it to the end of the video, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and let me know your thoughts about the Superman teaser trailer. Expect a lot more content in the new year after the holidays. I'm super excited. But until then, guys, thank you so much for the support. Happy holidays. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you on the next one.